Hello everyone, welcome back to my Biology Medicine channel. We returned with a new episode on my channel. Let's straight jump into it. You all might dream to become a professor in colleges or the university. However, many of us don't have adequate information on how to become a professor in colleges related to the higher education. As you know, in the state of West Bengal, there are two main different commissions which select candidates for the position of assistant professor. The one is called College Service Commission, or commonly known as the CSC, and the second is called the Public Service Commission, or PSC. Both CSC and PSC conduct interview periodically to select and recommend candidates against vacant position of assistant professor in degree colleges. Let me tell you some basics on the CSC establishment. The West Bengal College Service Commission was established by an act passed in the West Bengal Legislative Assembly in 1979. Its main functions are to select and recommend assistant professors, librarians and principals to all the government-aided colleges in West Bengal, as well as to conduct the State Eligibility Test or SET. The Act of 1979 was revised twice in 2012 and 2017. You should also know about the basics of PSC of West Bengal. Who knows, you may be asked questions about the PSC in the interview. As a body enshrined in the Constitution of India, the Public Service Commission of West Bengal has sincerely remained active in discharging its constitutional duties and living up to its tradition as inherited from the Bengal Public Service Commission that was formed under the Government of India Act 1935 and which started functioning with effect from April 1937. Now the question is, what is its duty? Among many duties that PSC performs, the Public Service Commission recruits assistant professor and librarians in the government degree colleges in the West Bengal Education Service under the Higher Education Department, Government of West Bengal. When you aspire to become a professor, it's clearly understood that you'll have a lot of questions. We all know that. Off and on, you commonly have confusion if the mode of selection and interview are same in the case of both CSC and PSC for the position of assistant professor. What are the differences that a candidate will encounter during the interview? Yes, according to my opinion, there are differences in the interviews conducted by College Service Commission and Public Service Commission. In this video tutorial, I will talk about the differences that you can expect while appearing for the interview in CSC or PSC. When you know the difference, you can invest your best to be selected for the position. Now first thing first, why is this so important to discuss the differences? Those who prepare for the jobs of assistant professor should know that what are the differences between the mode of selections. Only knowing things correctly and clearly will help you prepare in the right way for the jobs. It's my suggestion that please don't go blindfolded. I will start with the selection of applications. A large number of candidates apply against the interview for the position of assistant professor in the College Service Commission and Public Service Commission. Although the College Service Commission offers more vacancies than Public Service Commission per advertisement in general. So the question is there any kind of preliminary selection criteria of the applications? If yes, what are those criteria? So far in the history of the interviews in College Service Commission, they have never been seen to shortlist the candidates for interview. Unless your application is wrong, incomplete or contains certain errors, including non-payment of application fees, you can expect to be called for the interview. This means that the College Service Commission calls almost all candidates who apply for an interview. Frequently, the number of candidates called for an interview even crosses 1,000 per subject. a lot of candidates, isn't it? However, the Public Service Commission does not call all the candidates who apply against the advertisement. In PSC, there exists a method of shortlisting the candidates for the interview. They conduct a written test which decides who the candidates are going for the next round of selection. So far, there is only one round of objective type MCQ written test which you will have to write in OMR sheet. Now we can easily understand the number of candidates interviewed by the College Service Commission is fairly large, and compared to that, whereas in the case of Public Service Commission, only a very few number of candidates are called for interview. Does that make sense? Since the College Service Commission is supposed to interview a huge number of candidates, interview of the College Service Commission lasts for months. As opposed to that, the Public Service Commission, which conducts the interview in days or weeks once the process starts. So, the total duration to complete the interview of all the candidates is huge in case of CSC, but short in case of PSC. Now, you have realized that the College Service Commission affords a minimum amount of time for interview per candidate, whereas the Public Service Commission has a plenty of time for interview and they utilize this time per candidates. In this case, you can expect a rigorous interview. In general, the duration of the interview in case of the College Service Commission is shorter, 5 to 7 minutes on an average, and longer in case of a potentially good candidate, sometimes even 15 to 20 minutes. In PSC, it may take longer than that for sure. Based on my experience and experiences shared by other candidates, in case of CSC, the panel of interview will ask questions from multiple topics and numerous papers. If you are able to successfully answer their questions, they will frequently switch the topic and try to grill you. Interesting, no? However, in the case of the interview conducted by Public Service Commission, they might introduce you with one topic and ask most of the questions from that particular topic. So, there may be a more in-depth or a detailed discussion on one particular topic or just a few topics only. The next important thing that comes in my mind is all about having a PhD. In case of the interview conducted by the College Service Commission, because there are a fairly large number of candidates being interviewed, so of course, if you have a PhD, you are miles ahead in the list of selected candidates. But remember, the PSC shortlists the candidates through written test. Having a doctoral degree is not supposed to influence the outcome of the written test anyway. Having said that, those who have or undergoing PhD may face difficulty to qualify the written test since the standard of the written test is that of a master's degree. Are you curious to know why it's so? According to my opinion, during the 5 years of PhD, candidates may forget most of the basics of the subject since they remain focused to a particular topic in their PhD. Therefore, the candidates feel difficult to answer the question of the written test. But the fresher who just passed out of their masters can easily remember the basics of the subject and therefore they can write in the written test and as a consequence successfully qualify. This could be the reason why I see more candidates without PhD being selected in the interview of the Public Service Commission. But of course, it is needless to say that candidates with PhD will get adequate weightage during the preparation of the merit panel. Therefore, a doctoral degree will influence your chance only after qualifying the written test in PSC. Similarly, in the interview of the College Service Commission, if you have papers, that is definitely an advantage. Because of the written test conducted by the Public Service Commission, the candidate selected for the next round of interview is independent of their PhD and publications. Therefore, your performance will matter a lot in the case of the Public Service Commission interview, but in the case of the CSC interview, your performance as well as your profile will together influence the outcome of the interview. Could you now realize the differences? Altogether, the process of interview and the criteria for selection are a bit different in case of both these kinds of interviews. I believe that if you know the differences beforehand, then you can always prepare accordingly. My intention is to share as much information as I can in order to help you qualify the exam and get you the job. Alright, it's time to end the tutorial. So, viewers, please let me know if the information presented in this video tutorial is useful to you. You may also write in the comment section if you think of more differences in the interviews conducted by both these organizations. Please like, share and comment on this video. For the new viewers, do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you already have not done so, and press the bell icon to get the notifications on the newly released video. Do take care in the pandemic.